Hello and welcome to Evil Dread. I'm Wyeth.
And I'm Lyn.
And this week we have a movie that we were not expecting anything about.
To say the least, I think. It was my week, so I take full responsibility, I guess.
Mm-hmm. We have been rotating
picks.
Co-host picks by week. And Lyn, what did you choose this week?
A mistake is what I chose. I chose Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which I thought it'd be a safe choice. I hadn't seen it, that's why I picked it. I own it, but I haven't seen it. Love the first one, love the third one. Dream Warriors is a masterpiece, so I'm like, the second one will be good, right?
Nope.
No.
The good gene skipped.
It skipped the second one. Not that it's not interesting.
It's a James Bond of horror. The odds are good.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen 5, but
I haven't.
I have 4 if you ever want to watch The Dream Child or whatever.
Well, this was my second Nightmare movie after the first one.
Okay.
Makes sense to go chronologically.
I think so.
Since I saw the first one like a decade ago.
Well, and it is a direct sequel. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't have Nancy in it, but they directly reference her.
Oh yeah, they find her diary.
Which was a cool plot device, I thought.
But yeah, this is not a Halloween 3 Season of the Witch scenario.
Wait. Oh, I thought you were saying Season of the Witch was good. It's not.
Really? I've heard good things.
No, I really hate it.
Well, just like we hated this movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is the boldest example of there not being any subtext, because the subtext is the text.
It's text. It's just all text. It is all on the surface for you to see. And by it, I mean boy ass.
This is the most homoerotic movie I've ever seen.
We watched The Lost Boys a few weeks ago, so that's something to say.
This skips right past The Covenant.
Oh my god! And if y'all didn't know, I'm obsessed with Covenant. It ruined a date for me once because
I feel like you have to tell the story now.
I watched The Covenant. And I was so happy and just into it and, like, wired from watching it because it's such a great, stupid, bad, like, over-the-top, campy, just gay boy movie. And I loved it. And that night, this guy I knew from my dorm asked me to go see Rocky Horror Picture Show with him because, like, a block away from campus, they did the shadow play every month or so. So I had already seen it multiple times, but I was like, sure, I'll go, yeah. And I think he thought I was homophobic because I kept being like teasing him. I'm like, you into that gay shit, dude? Like, because it was just like on my mind. Which yeah, I was terrible. Honestly.
Wow. Oof.
He's running for mayor of Albuquerque now.
Oh.
He's 22.
I've done nothing with my life.
I don't think he's gonna win, but you know, if a girl calling him gay instead of flirting all night scared him off, then I don't know if he can run a city. But
anyway, we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 2,
the gayest movie ever made, maybe. I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name yet, but right now it's Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
So what is the plot?
I don't know. No, I'll try my best, I guess. His name's Jesse, right? Jesse is the main boy.
Yes.
He's a high school student. He moves to Elm Street. He moves into Nancy Thompson's old house because Nancy is the main character in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. So he moves into the home where basically Freddy Krueger was attacking her every night.
Nancy, yeah.
Yeah, so his spirit's kind of still there, I guess.
Yeah, more or less like trapped in the basement.
Yes.
Maybe even trapped in the closet.
Oh my god. I think Jesse's the one trapped in the closet.
Very much so.
So him and his family moved there. He's trying to make it to school. He has a girl that he gives rides to. I think her name's Lisa, right?
Poor Lisa.
Ooh, Lisa was a grade A beard, but like
a grade A beard?
You know what a beard is?
Sure don't.
That's a woman that dates a gay man to keep up appearances. I'm sure you've known a few.
This moment brought to you by More You Know, NBC.
Yes. So Jesse keeps having bad dreams, and he's sleeping in the upstairs, which apparently is 1,000 degrees.
The whole house is 1,000 degrees.
This is the sweatiest movie I've ever seen.
Well, it's because of the boiler room.
I know, it makes sense, but, like, it's deeply unpleasant to see.
Oh, it's so awful.
He just wakes up, like, drenched in sweat in, like, tighty-whities. And
he only wears those at night.
Oh, God, and he, like, adjusts his dick.
He wears those only, or he only wears those at night, yes.
Yes. I'm trying to figure out the opposite of what you just said.
I don't know.
Anyway, but yeah, Jesse, he's having nightmares, like, they're getting more and more detailed. Freddy Krueger's in them, and, basically, at one point, Freddy's like, you have the body and I have the brains, which is the coolest part of the movie. Because
that was the cool part.
Freddy rips off his scalp and there's a brain underneath, and it's a cool effect.
I've seen the first movie, and I've seen a lot of the highlights of the third movie, so I was expecting a lot more, like, creative kills in this movie.
I agree.
And nothing happened.
Well, we'll get to kind of the climax, which I thought was good.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's one of my favorite things about this series, is if you're in a dreamscape, like, you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's, like, the most fun, the most, like, creative ways you can kill somebody, you can do it in these movies. Which I thought the opening was kind of cool. The opening's a dream sequence where they're on a bus, and
it goes crazy and drives into the desert, and hell opens up beneath it.
Which, like, is their town on the edge of the desert? Like, that,
I don't know.
It was a very hard cut to, like,
Dream
from, like,
logic.
suburbia to desert. But there were moments in this movie where I didn't know if it was a dream or if it was real. So I wasn't sure if...
There were moments. They did a very poor job of explaining, or of, like, breaking their own rules.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Jesse is basically getting possessed by Freddy Krueger the whole movie, and Freddy's, like, acting through him. So Jesse will, like, see Freddy kill someone, and then, like, look down, and he's covered in blood, and he has the glove on.
He somehow has the iconic glove, yeah.
Yeah, which is a really cool concept.
It is.
I love that concept.
It's just so poorly executed.
It is. It's a really cool way to go for a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the first one, like, it's iconic and it was groundbreaking, but, like, if you just repeat it again, that's boring.
Yeah.
You know, you have to do something new. So I thought the possession aspect was rad.
Or I even think that the gay subtext would have been way better served by, like, better actors.
Oh my god.
Screenplay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. No, I think the idea of, like, making a blatantly gay Nightmare on Elm Street movie is amazing and really cool. And so, like, all the elements were there, but it tripped over itself.
The problem, I mean, I feel like I can forgive plot holes if I like the characters and if the actors do a good job with them. The actors in this movie are robots who were given broad outlines of what humans are supposed to act like, and then they took those as suggestions.
See, I feel like bad acting can work if it has character.
Camp. If it was camp. Yeah.
Like, Fright Night. I feel like the acting's terrible, but I love it because they're so over the top and just weird and funny. This movie's not funny. This movie is just trite and painful.
Like, yeah. There's no urgency to any of the characters, even when Freddy does show up.
Yeah. There's a lot of screaming, but none of it seems real. Except that main boy, he can scream, like, he has, like, a Scooby-Doo scream.
A real falsetto.
Like a beautiful woman's scream.
When
that
I
should
first
be,
heard
like,
it,
in a cartoon.
It's just a few shades away from the Wilhelm scream.
It's wild, and he just goes for it. That boy can't play straight.
Mm-mm.
To watch him play straight was laughable.
Have you looked at his, what has he done?
Nothing.
He hasn't had a post-Fright Night career?
If by gay porn, is that what you mean?
I am.
No. He was in, like, 5 things in the 80s and 90s, and then he was in 2 like low budget horror movies the past 2 years or so.
Thanks.
But yeah, he didn't go the way of Evil Ed, which if you're looking for an interesting Google search, look at Evil Ed from Fright Night's IMDb page. It starts out good. We're doing good. We get some name changes and we get to like some hardcore like Navy themed gay porn. And then we come back up in the 90s, then we go back down. It's a roller coaster. I love it.
It's quite the trip. But anyway, so yeah, Jesse moves into Nancy's old house and starts to become Freddy Krueger. And
cool idea.
He is also deeply in the closet.
It's not even metaphorical at that point. Like, his parents are like, what's wrong with you? And it's very much like, do we need to send you to someone?
Yeah.
Which was, had echoes of, de-gayification camp or whatever. Can we talk about the coach?
I was getting ready to go there.
Please go there.
So of course there's PE scenes prominently featured.
Constantly.
Lots of men's locker rooms.
They're always jogging. They're always, like, taking showers and then getting sweaty again and then taking more showers. Also, hold on. When they were playing baseball within, like, 10 minutes of the movie.
Full ass grab.
Full ass. Just, like, his friend is mad because Jesse, like, got him out at base. And so the friend just, like, pulls down his fucking pants, dude. And, like, full ass out. Full, like, 16-year-old boy
I think
ass.
he saw all the way up.
It was gross. And, like, and his girlfriend's standing over there, and her friend, who has no personality or name, is like, nice ass. I'm like, not for you. Not for you.
Those boys rolling in the dirt together.
Yeah, and then getting sweaty together.
And then so the coach punishes them by making them do push-ups. And there they discuss the coach's sex life.
Like you do.
Yeah.
You know, I did that in PE all the time with friends. Not at all.
No.
But yeah, his friend, what's the friend's name?
Beats me.
Yeah, it's like Rudy or something. It's something stupid.
We're very Personally, I was very uninvested in this movie.
Yeah, it was boring as hell. So I'm gonna just call him man friend or something, or even boyfriend.
Let's just call him the boyfriend.
The boyfriend. Okay, that's good because that's basically what he is. The boyfriend is like, well, you know about Coach, and Jesse's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, he gets off on it. He likes seeing us in pain. He goes to that leather club downtown. He likes little boys like you. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
We went from 0 to 1,000.
Fast forward like an hour of barely anything happening, and he and Jesse sleepwalks to this club.
Okay, that was the moment that I didn't know if it was a dream or not. I thought that was a dream. I thought that Jesse, in the dream, went to this leather bar because like his friend had told him about it, so he was dreaming about it. In the dream, he sees the coach. They get together. Somehow they end up at the gym.
So
at school. To
explain to those of you who haven't seen this, Jesse goes to the leather bar, orders a drink.
This is the stupidest detail.
He orders a beer and is given like a shot glass for it.
The guy like gives him like a
Budweiser.
tumbler.
Yeah, like a Scotch tumbler, and Jesse lightly pours a Bud Light into it.
I'm like, is that the kind of drinks they serve at leather bars? Just here's a dainty glass for your beer. It's not even like a pint glass.
Take in the scent of the Budweiser.
Yeah, it was very weird. Also, they didn't card him. He was in his PJs. Yeah. Which made me think it was a dream even more. But, so the coach finds him. His coach is in, like, a leather vest, leather pants, and... nothing else. It was full Village People.
Very much so. And the coach removes him from the bar and takes him to...
the school gym.
School gym.
Which, I would have killed to see that car ride.
Just awkward silence.
They cut... from, like, in the middle of, like, a sex club to him making Jesse jog around.
Run laps in, like, a bathrobe.
In the gym.
In a loosely flowing bathrobe.
Very weird. And so the coach, like, pulls him close and he's like, hit the showers.
And so we get, like, 5 minutes of Jesse lathering up.
He is enjoying it. Like, still, all of this was crazy. So I thought it was a dream.
Like, the sweatiest, steamiest movie outside of, like
a military movie or something. Like, I'm thinking of, like, this French military movie where they're, like, training in the desert, and I'm like, that might be slightly sweatier.
Like,
but, like, only slightly.
The only, like, sweatiest, steamiest thing I could think of is, like, in Aliens, where they're going through the alien hive.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But this is on another level.
This is all for the little boys watching.
So while Jesse is lathering up, his coach is in, like, the equipment room, and
this is the longest sequence.
in the most text scene of the movie, all the balls in the room pelt him for
I didn't even think about
30
the literal
minutes.
meaning
He is
of
just
that.
covered in
my
balls.
God. But yeah, I thought it was funny because, like, even the tennis balls, which were in, like, the little, like, Pringles cans,
shooting,
were, like,
popping out.
It was crazy. Like, they were smoking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, every ball in the room is just being thrown at this guy by an invisible force that we assume is Freddy Krueger. Is that what Freddy does now? He just throws basketballs at people's heads?
Maybe.
That doesn't hurt.
Like, how does he interact with the real world like that?
Because right now he's like a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Something like that.
Well, he can lock doors and shit.
The rules
It's a mess.
Are flimsy.
Yeah.
And then the coach is proceeded to be tied up bondage style in the shower
Jump
room
ropes.
by jump ropes.
Yes, which was interesting. He is dragged by an invisible force.
How did he lose his clothes? I don't even remember. He goes from something like his club outfit to nothing.
Oh, because, like, the invisible force, like, stripped him. Like, Fred, like, it was... Because I remember he had pants on, and then it was like, pa! And they, like, ripped away, but no
Maybe they were tearing
And I was
away.
like, ass. Like, I was like, oh, I just saw a man's ass. That's fun. So he's, like, strung up in the showers. All his clothes are ripped off. A invisible force, like, takes, like, a wet towel and, like, starts whipping him on the ass, which, like, that shouldn't hurt that much.
I mean, it probably stings.
I've never been in a men's locker room, so I wouldn't know. Well, how does that work, Wyeth?
Well,
how did it feel when they whipped you on the ass?
Not fun. I did 2 years of high school football and realized yearbook was more my thing. Oh my God,
I didn't know that. I learn more about Wyeth every day because of this podcast.
There's many facets.
Yeah, you contain multitudes.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyway, there's some light bondage and rope
Whipping.
play.
And then
Freddy just
cuts open his back.
Which
I feel like I mean, I don't know how deep it didn't look that deep.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it was, like, pretty shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And then he immediately dies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you would definitely survive that. You'd have, like, bad scars or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd survive. And then Jesse looks down. He's covered in the coach's blood, and he has the glove on.
And
he's
still naked
nude.
and lathered up.
Sexy.
That was...
Hard cut to... No, what were you going to say?
It was still... That whole scene from the club to the gym is just... What?
Wyeth watched this a few hours before me while I was still at work, and he texted, he was like, so Freddy's at a leather bar. And I was like, oh shit, okay, what have we gotten ourselves into? But hard cut from Jesse just straight up murdering his pedophile gym teacher, which problematic in its representation. The only out character is pedophilic and abusive.
He's definitely portrayed as, like,
sadistic,
bad kinky.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it kind of falls into, like, a lot of horror movies do the, he's like, he's not straight, so therefore he's got this darker side. Like, everything from, like, Norman Bates to Buffalo Bill. Like, they're all kinky, sadistic.
And Hitchcock's Rope.
I never saw Rope.
It's two gay lovers who kill someone, and it's like in film, and especially in horror, it's like, if you have any flavor of queer, it indicates a moral lapse. So you can be capable of murder or
very
violence
problematic.
or whatever. So yeah, that was messed up.
We were actually talking earlier about queer representation in horror. And how it's... I feel like it's...
dicey?
It's almost non-existent.
I think it's more existent in metaphor than anything else. Because, I mean, like you said, Buffalo Bill, definitely, but that was, I believe, at the time, not looked on favorably from the queer community. So, like, especially trans folks in horror, because we have Sleepaway Camp, which the reveal at the end is that Angela has the body of a young boy, and she has been, hiding that, and she's the killer, which is terrible. Buffalo Bill is, genderqueer in his presentation. Norman Bates is a cross-dresser.
I mean, I don't think that... Oh no, I had a good train of thought.
And then it's gone. Welcome to... This happened to me last week, yeah?
Yeah, no one in their right mind should take these as true representations of LGBT community.
Oh, of course.
But unfortunately, because because media is so easily digest and
it's pervasive.
And because you can so easily take the images and apply them to like people groups.
Yeah. When that's the only representation of trans folks or queer folks or, sexually divergent people, that's what you're going to think of, which is awful.
Like, the only like, gay characters from a horror movie, like you mentioned, Rocky Horror.
Yes, which I feel like is overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, and it's like, it has become in the queer community like a touchstone. Like, oh, when did you first see Rocky Horror? Like, what did that mean to you as a young queer person? Kind of thing.
Or
but
even
go ahead.
The last week with The Invitation, like, there is a gay couple.
Yeah.
And while they're not fleshed out at all.
Yeah.
Because it's so strictly limited to the main character's perspective. But they are, like, definitely set down as good guys. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's gotten so much better. Like, I think it's time to have more queer horror, because genuinely, I feel like the horror genre is most adept to tackle that. Because I know a lot of queer people, I've studied this, I've identified with this, like a lot of my friends have. A lot of queer people are very attracted to the idea of, like, the monster in society. Because it's easily identifiable as being different, it's cast out, it's something that has to be eradicated. So a lot of horror movies are really important to queer people.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We've talked at length about how horror has been, like, a constant, like, source of inspiration for, like, positive characters of color and for women. And I really think that the genre as a whole should step up in terms of, like, LGBTQ... Wait.
Yeah. LGBTQ.
Okay.
Plus. IA, whatever. There's a lot of different things. So, queer folks, LGBTQ folks,
But yeah, Nightmare 2 is definitely not there.
Not good. I'm impressed that it got made.
Especially, in the 80s.
It's ballsy as hell. That's one thing I give it. It is, like, unapologetically not, like, obviously gay.
How wild is it that apparently the director had no clue about any of the...
I know the star did, though.
Oh, yeah. How do you miss all that?
I know. I don't know. I think some people, some straight people, are so willingly ignorant about seeing that stuff,
Oh yeah, it's the people who comment on, like, lesbian wedding photos saying, I can't believe two best friends are getting married on the same day.
Oh my god, gal pals. Yeah. It's very... If you don't want to see it, you won't see it. I think. But I think people who are queer or, who are super involved allies or whatever, or who have opened themselves up to that interpretation. You see it everywhere.
Some level of basic awareness.
Yeah, definitely. I was in a class last semester, and we were watching Mahogany with Diana Ross and Anthony Perkins, and we were discussing it, and like I was like, so Anthony Perkins' character was gay, right? And this guy in the class was like, what? And I'm like, were we watching the same movie? Like the internal acrobats that you have to bend over backwards to like not see queerness.
Isn't that an important movie for RuPaul?
Yes, it is. It's really important for a lot of black gay folks and drag queens in particular. But yeah, I mean, I think it's time for more LGBT horror.
Absolutely.
I think it's an unserved market. Interestingly, I recently saw a trailer for a movie called Women Who Kill, which is like a thriller comedy kind of, but it's about two queer women who do a podcast, a true crime podcast, and they used to date, so they're like exes, but they're still on good terms, and they go and talk to, convicted killers, and so it's like My Favorite Murder or whatever. And so it's kind of funny, kind of relationship comedy or whatever.
So a comedy version of Werner Herzog's Into the Abyss.
Sure, I've never seen that. One of the hosts gets a new girlfriend, and her ex, the other host, thinks that this new girlfriend might be a serial killer. So it's like a funny play. Promising. Yeah, and I love that it's lesbians. I love that.
The only other lesbian horror that I can think of, I mean, aside from the subgenre of like vampire lesbian movies.
Yes, which is amazing. And they were all made by like gross Italian directors who just like love titties, but
High Tension, the French movie, but that to me that also kind of falls into like LGBTQ as a kink which leads to murder.
Yeah. I haven't seen High Tension. Like, it scares me. That's one of the, like, that and Martyrs and Inside. Like, a few of them I can't roll with.
I did a paper that talked briefly about French New Wave horror.
Yeah.
And it's like...
French Extreme.
Reading the Wikipedia entries for them alone was exhausting.
Oh my god, yeah, definitely. What was I gonna say? High Tension... we're the worst. We're not good podcasts.
I think we're fantastic. And we thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you very much.
Especially you, Lyn's mom.
Oh, hi, Mom.
But yeah, High Tension is kind of known for its like creative kills, which... Yeah. But there's also... And that's what disappointed me about Nightmare 2.
Not creative. Okay, but directly after he kills his... coach.
Gym teacher, yeah.
There was a hard cut to his parents answering the door, and Jesse is like flanked by two cops who are like, "We found him wandering on the highway. He was naked," and he's like wrapped in like a foil blanket,
a shock blanket.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, so that was real? That's crazy."
Yeah, I think I would have liked more build-up towards like more mystery in regards to like, is he becoming?
Yeah.
Like, if the audience wasn't immediately clued into what's going on.
I agree. I don't know. There were just a lot of opportunities missed, which was so disappointing.
There were the one scene that really, in terms of like, oh man, I like a good like gory scene when it's done well and it's kind of campy. Yeah. Like an Evil Dead kill scene.
I love good gore if it's like rubbery and fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 80s gore is great.
Or even like it's either like fun gore or it's like inventive gore, like maybe like a Cronenberg or Carpenter.
Exactly, because I love special effects.
Yeah, practical.
And it's more fun for me to be like, how the hell did they do that? Yeah. Like
when Jesse kills his boyfriend.
Oh, that was so sad. His boyfriend was nice.
What? They fought constantly.
No, okay. They teased each other and everything, but
in
the end he was
mad at each other.
Well, Jesse comes in and he's like, "I need you to watch me as I go to sleep." And he's like, "How are you in my room?" And then lets it go immediately.
We have to talk about what proceeds directly before that scene.
Yep.
Jesse and the girl who likes him, who's
Yeah.
into him, they start
His beard.
making out in what is the most uncomfortable makeout scene.
No one liked it.
Like, he looked like he was about to throw up into her mouth.
He was mostly looking between her boobs.
When they were kissing, they literally just like touch, separate, touch, separate. And then he like, oh, I'm going for that sternum.
He was like, I'm going to get the flattest part of the chest, like, between the boobs, and I'm just going to lick it for, 30 seconds.
He literally pulled them apart.
I know, and, well, I think that actress really did not want to show nip, and that was probably in her contract. So she was, like, covering with, like, she had a button-up on, so she just had enough in the middle for him to kinda, like...
the whole time, he's, like, he looks pale and pasty and sick while trying to make out with this girl. And he was like, I can't do this. Well, she has her
Freddy
eyes...
tongue comes out.
It unfurls.
That was funny.
That was pretty funny.
I liked it.
So that happens. He freaks out. Hard cut to him appearing in his mostly nude boyfriend's room. Like, I need your help. I need you to watch me while I sleep.
And the boyfriend's like, how did you get in here?
Okay.
Anyway. I feel like their relationship was so interesting. Because, like, they were obviously written to be, like, antagonists. But they love each other.
That subtext came through hard.
I know. Came through is the hard. It's the real word.
Yeah.
Jokes. But that goes into the best part, which is Jesse's like, oh, it's happening. Which, you know.
When you phrase it like that.
Yeah, but that was basically all he was doing. And his boyfriend is like, hey, what the hell? Hey, what the fuck? And he, like, tries to go to the door. The door is obviously locked. And Jesse, his fingertips, like, split open, and Freddy's knives come out of his fingertips. Very cool. Loved it.
Yeah.
And the skin on his arm starts falling off, and the sweater's underneath.
I was like, ah.
And then he's shirtless, obviously. And
like 90% of the movie.
Yeah. And Freddy's face, like, presses against his skin from the inside and is, like, coming out. And he...
like, full-on chest bursts his way out.
Yeah, he, like, rips his chest with the knives, and then Freddy just comes out of his, like, nasty carcass. Which was great.
It was
I loved
so
it.
gross and great.
I know. I wish the whole movie was like that.
And then later on, so that happens. So Jesse and the girl were making out at the pool party. Goes off to his boyfriend.
Because of course there's a pool party in this movie.
Yeah, you know how teens do.
No. Anyway, go on.
Neither do I. And so
I never really was one.
You just skipped.
I skipped.
Time
Go ahead.
hopped. And so Freddy goes back to massacre the teens.
As you would. They deserved a massacring. They were really obnoxious.
They were just bland people. And like 3 people out of 50 die.
Oh yeah, it was like no one was really in danger.
Like Freddy just kind of like at people, like waves at them with his claws.
I thought there was a really big missed opportunity since it was a pool party and the whole movie was about being hot and like the heat like of the boiler room like coming from inside and all that, being super sweaty. The pool like got really hot and people were like, it's getting too hot, and I'm like, y'all gonna boil alive. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
I was expecting all the lights above the pool to like fall in and electrocute them.
Any of that would have been better than
Didn't
what
happen.
happened, which was nothing.
Some beer cans popped open from the heat. Some hot dogs exploded like
that was
fireworks.
Fun. I like that.
that was about it.
That was the best. But yeah, the stakes were so low.
Oh my god.
And then it's like once Jesse becomes Freddy and he's the bad guy, Linda's like, well, I guess I gotta be a final girl now. I'm like, that wasn't earned.
So the character Jesse that you've been following throughout 90% of the movie disappears. And we don't really get
in the climax.
And so we take over from the girl.
Who is bland as hell, and I don't give a damn about her. She's so...
Then again, Jesse's also kind of bland.
no one in this movie's cool. No one is remotely interesting.
Nancy has more character coming through her diary than anyone else.
Yes! Oh god, I love Nancy. I'd die for Nancy Thompson. She comes back in the third one. But yeah.
Spoiler.
No, it isn't. But, so yeah, Linda chases Freddy to the boiler room of this factory. See, in the first movie, it was under the school. He was a janitor at the school. He worked in the boiler room of the school.
Yeah,
right?
This whole movie was made by people reading brief outlines of things. Human Emotion.
Oh, God.
The first movie.
Can we talk about when Linda is, like, going into the, like, factory and there are two dogs with human faces?
Yes. Like, that was a very inspired moment. Not sure why it's there.
No
cool.
explanation.
Like, these Rottweilers have masks, like human faces covered in, like, maggots.
Oh, it was gross.
Boils.
They look like gross baby masks that you would get at, like, Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nasty. And they just, like, didn't do anything.
They're just there.
But her whole thing was, like, you can't be afraid of him, which was, you know, going back to the first movie. Mm-hmm. So she just walked by them and they didn't do anything. But that kind of defeated the purpose of having them, you know? So basically, Linda is, like, being tormented by Freddy here, and the most anticlimactic final battle, she slips him some tongue. It's fine.
We don't, well, I'm going to be honest, podcast listeners.
Oh my god.
Once the pool party ended, I'm like,
why is this stupid?
I cannot take any more of this movie, and I stopped it there.
Dude, I watched all of the Wailing for you.
I'm proud of you.
Oh god, this was like barely 90 minutes, okay? And you're like, I can't do it. But Freddy is, you know, not even trying to hurt Linda. It's like very low stakes, and she's like, Jesse, you gotta fight him, or whatever. And so Jesse does, but it's not enough. So Linda makes out with Freddy a little bit.
Yeah.
Gross.
And they defeat him with the power of love.
Mm-hmm. And Jesse pops out of Freddy.
Out of his ashes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the movie's biggest flaw is that not even Robert
Englund.
It seems like not even he's having fun.
He's not even in the movie.
Like, he's not?
No, he's barely in the movie is what I'm saying. Like, gets like very little screen time.
Like, I remember the first one, and even then, in the first one, I mean, gradually, like, throughout the rest of the series, he descended into camp. Yeah. But even in the first one, like, there's a menacing sense of fun.
Yeah, he's like really enjoying being a sadist.
This movie even makes him as Freddy Krueger bland.
Yeah, which is crazy and like should be impossible. Right?
Like, yeah. Like, I'm not a slasher.
Like, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. That's hilarious. And he like puts his tongue out the phone. Like, come on, that's Freddy. That's fun.
Like, I'm not a slasher guy. I tend to not enjoy these movies.
That's where I pick up his slack.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, go ahead.
But I can enjoy how much fun he's having with that character.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that character is iconic. Mm-hmm. In a way that Michael and Jason aren't.
Like, they're more like appearance iconic. And
they don't speak. They're just there to be menacing. But Freddy is scary because he's funny. Yeah. Like, he's fun to watch.
He's having fun while he does all these awful things.
Yeah. But in this movie, he was reduced to Michael Myers. Just like... Yeah,
more or less.
Just there.
A very bland Michael Myers.
I don't like Michael Myers anyway. I'm not a fan of the Halloween movies. But yeah. It's so... Well, let's get to the end. So everything seems okay. Jesse's, like, come out of Freddy, but since it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, nothing ever is okay. So they're on the bus, and he gets a little freaked out. He's like, the bus is going too fast, because at the beginning it started speeding before they went to hell or whatever. And Lisa's like, no, it isn't. You're fine. It's fine. Calm down. And their friend peeks over the back of the bus seat, and she's like, hey, who's that? And Freddy's arm, like, pops out of her chest, which was fun. And it was like, whoa! And cut to black.
Yeah.
So it was a fun, campy ending for a not fun, very campy movie. But I I think it could have been done so much better, and the reason I don't like it so much is because I love what it could have been. It had so much potential.
Yeah.
Because, and I've written a lot about Wes Craven and his movies, and I will go to my grave saying this about Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street is about rape and post-trauma. That's, like, I feel that in my heart.
Unpack that for us.
Okay. I became obsessed with Nightmare on Elm Street for a few years ago, but because I had never seen it until a few years ago. And I watched it, and I was like, there's, like, something being said here, you know? Because it's so, like, heavy with symbology, I think, in a way that people don't give it credit for. I think Craven does that really well. But to me, it's obviously about rape because Nancy is in bed, she's unconscious, and this person or this entity like invades her mentally, if not physically, but she wakes up with scratches all over her nightgown, and she wakes up you know, with bruises and scratches, and it's very much loaded with sexual violence imagery.
Yeah, like even the phone scene with Freddy's tongue.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, assault, unwanted advances.
Also, the glove is like an extension of the hand, which like, I'm going to grab you, I'm going to touch you.
The bathtub scene, that makes me super uncomfortable.
Yeah, when the glove goes up between her legs. And it's so deeply reminiscent of like either violent sexual assaults, being assaulted while you're unconscious, having no control over the situation because you're asleep. It's so vulnerable and
violence
invasive.
Against women in vulnerable situations.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know, that movie speaks to me so much. And there's a moment in it where Glenn, Johnny Depp, her boyfriend, and Nancy are standing on a bridge, and Glenn looks at Nancy's book, and it's like survival 101, like how to do booby traps or whatever. He's like, why are you reading this? And she goes, I'm into survival. And I'm like, that's like been like my mantra for years. Just like, hell yeah, just it's about fiercely fighting back. And she does. She doesn't have any supernatural powers. She sets tons of traps in her house.
I love that ending.
And like lures Freddy out. She's so great and so resourceful. I love Nancy so much. And I mean, going back to the PTSD component of it, the fact that you don't want to fall asleep because you're afraid you're going to dream about it is very real. Like, that's such a symptom of post-traumatic stress. Like, especially like after a violent sexual attack. So it's like an incredibly heavy movie for me, even though it's, like we said, it's really fun and campy. Like, the ideas in it are heavy.
I don't think the first one's campy. I think it's, like, it's portrayed very serious, and it's only with later iterations that camp. Like, well, with all, like...
Well, I guess Freddy's having fun, but we're not supposed to be having fun with him, but in light of the sequels. You know,
audiences enjoy things... root for the killer, like with, it's like with all like horror franchises, as time goes on the audience switches to rooting for the killer, because
the final girl is, well, maybe not the final girl, but the players or the victims are replaceable, like due to the nature of the film, right? Like, you're gonna have a new crop of like 10 kids, and they're just gonna get picked off one by one, so the only constant character other than the final girl would be the killer, you know? So yeah, I have a huge soft spot for Nightmare on Elm Street 1. So the fact that it handles sexuality and sexual violence in such a nuanced, surprisingly nuanced way made me really disappointed in the sequel, because I'm like, maybe this will handle queer sexuality and those complexities. No, not at all.
No, there's nothing is handled with care in this movie.
Oh my god, this movie's a mess. Also, the one thing that was carried to this movie is it posits that if you turn away from him, or if you don't give him your fear, all of the power is taken from him. So that's kind of echoes like after something bad happens, if you recontextualize it and you take that trauma and you're like, I'm not going to give you the power of having that control over me after something terrible happens. That's a really interesting concept.
Again, there's some great ideas on paper here.
At the end of Nightmare 1, Nancy turns away from Freddy and he disappears because like all of his power was her fear, which is really interesting. Originally, Freddy was gone, and they forced Wes Craven to write a new ending where he comes back. But originally it was going to be a one movie, which is so interesting because in that version, she wins.
I hate that they made... See, I'm the kind of person who loves a happy ending.
Me too, yeah.
And I probably would like especially if I were to go back and because I saw it in high school, and I've been going back and revisiting a lot of movies that I watched in high school, made an opinion, and I never saw again. Yeah. But I think I would like a happy first Nightmare.
Me too.
Yeah.
Happy Nightmare.
Happy Nightmare.
Yeah, I kind of, in my memories of that movie, I kind of ignore the last scene where the car turns into Freddy or whatever and like all the windows roll up. Yeah. But yeah, imagine how important that would have been as a movie to show a young girl who was like terrorized and traumatized like defeat someone by taking power away from him. Come on, that's iconic. That's amazing.
I like a horror movie that has a happy ending, but it has to feel earned. Yeah.
I'm suspicious when they don't feel earned. I'm like, something bad's gonna happen immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like, is Killer's still alive?
Yeah, and I feel like Scream was like that to an extent. It at least called it out. It was like, hold on, this is when he comes back for one last scare, and she's like, she shoots Billy in the head. Oops, spoiler. She shoots the killer in the head.
A great meta moment.
Not in my movie. So, yeah. I mean, that's the fun of it, I think. I think when you get to, like, sequel number 7, you know it's going to pop out. Like, it's not the end.
Did you ever see the remake?
No, I didn't. Jackie Earle Haley.
Which I think that's a perfect cast if you want to make like a serious Nightmare.
Yeah. Rooney Mara was in it.
Really?
Too. Yeah.
Young Rooney Mara.
Young Rooney. Before Neri even glanced at a pie, I'm sure.
The pie was but a distant gleam in her eye.
This is a running joke, Rooney Mara's Pie.
We might as well change the name of the podcast to Rooney Mara's Pie.
Part 5. But, yeah. Robert Englund, I love him to death. He's my only Freddy.
I hear he's a really sweet guy.
Yeah, I think he's great. And I mean, if you're gonna have an iconic character, hell yeah, for that one. I wouldn't want any other one. Yeah. It's not like people, recognize Kane Hodder as being Jason or whatever.
They do.
Well, not like he's wearing a mask the whole time. Freddy's more like you associate it more with Robert Englund.
Okay, yeah, he's definitely more well known for being him.
Yeah. So Nightmare on Elm Street 2, it's a wild mess.
Would you recommend it?
It depends on whether or not you're a gender and sexuality major who like horror movies. So, like, if you're me, maybe. Like, if you're anyone else.
Maybe if you're writing a paper about poor representation.
Yeah. Ooh,
this movie. But this is not something I would like, hey, it's Saturday night. Let's have a few beers and watch Nightmare 2.
Have a few beers and watch Nightmare 3. Yes. Dream Warriors. Which I almost switched to Dream Warriors last week because I love that movie. But I was like, we'll do the one I haven't seen.
And all that could have been.
I know. Maybe we'll do it later. But yeah.
Well, we do
It's an oddity. Let's say that. I'd say that. It's like a one-off weird piece of horror history.
Who directed 3?
Oh, God.
So it's not Wes Craven?
Remember. Wes didn't do any of them except New Nightmare.
That's what I
which
thought.
is like 5th. Came out early 90s. New Nightmare is interesting because it was like him getting into meta even before Scream because it's about Heather Langenkamp.
Yeah.
So, like, the actress who played Nancy.
We're going to trust you to know more about slasher franchises.
Okay.
I can tell you all about the Tremors franchise.
Reba.
That was a real gem of Reba's career.
Oh, Reba is Oklahoma's favorite daughter. So, yes, of course I've seen Tremors. Like, we all have.
Listen, Tremors is an American treasure.
I like that movie. I like it.
I love Tremors.
It's cute.
I may own, like, the first 4 on Blu-ray.
Wow. Okay, that's dedication.
Listen, you can't judge me after choosing this
Nightmare
movie.
2? Okay, I got the first 4 Nightmares in, like, a box set at Hastings for, like, $3.99. So.
Okay. Listen, any of the... Even, like, Tremors 6 is more entertaining than Nightmare 2.
Okay. I made a mistake. Next time we'll do something fun.
You live and you learn.
I know, it's true.
We learned a lot.
This is just... I basically just rewatch Always Sunny and, like, The Great British Bake Off, so this is just me forcing myself to watch movies I haven't seen.
So how we're running this podcast is that we've set up a schedule and we're rotating weekly, and
that Google Doc gets a lot of action.
Way more than you would expect for a casually made Google Doc.
Yeah.
And I've started putting down movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it gets more honest reactions because I mean, like, I'm not going to budge on loving The Lost Boys. You know, like, I'm gonna come in and be like, I love this movie.
You do you.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting when we haven't seen something and we come at it with fresh eyes.
And I'll probably start doing some things I revisited. Like,
yes.
Recently, a movie I absolutely hated in high school was Seven.
Yeah, Al told me you were watching that the other day.
Like, how do you just casually... Because this is what I did. I just tried to casually just say, hey, in a non-weird way, I want to rewatch Seven. And I liked it a lot more than 11th grade Wyeth did.
You've grown as a person.
I feel like I've become a lot more...
That's 12 years ago, bro.
A lot more bleak of an outlook.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give Fincher a shot at anything, I guess. Yeah.
I'm afraid Fincher has almost gone the way of Kubrick in terms of all the screen studies boys.
Oh yeah, that's my theory. There are like 5 directors that douche bro film guys like just like wank off to constantly, and I'm like, yes, I've seen Fight Club. Yeah, I know about it. Yeah.
What, you didn't know Fight Club's the end all be all of cinema?
Oh my god, did you even see Clockwork Orange?
Did you know about Kubrick?
Oh my god, men who like Kubrick, like, okay, if I meet a woman and they're like, oh, I love Stanley Kubrick, I'm like, cool, we should hang out and be friends. If I meet a man who's like, my favorite director is Stanley Kubrick, I'm like, 911.
Red flag. Red flag.
Hello, police.
Got that crazy eye.
So, like, how many women have you hurt? Oh my god, what's it like to be that boring? But,
well, we do know a guy who loves him some Kubrick and believes kindness is a business tactic, so take that how you will.
Major creep. All guys who love Kubrick are major creeps.
That being said, I love The Shining.
Did you see that post recently? And it was like, The Shining ain't even a horror movie, that's just how men is. Like, yeah, it is, honestly.
Well, it is all about the failure of fatherhood.
Well, yeah. Basically. So, yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Got real this episode.
Wouldn't recommend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, help us. Make more LGBT horror movies, guys.
Someone make the LGBTQ plus Get Out.
Ooh. Oh my god, one time, a few months ago, my friends and I, we went to a cowboy bar. So, like, everything's Western themed. So we went to this cowboy bar, and all of us are either, like, visibly gay, I'd say, and so we were so uncomfortable, and we were
go there?
We were taking pictures of us all just like being like wide-eyed and like very terrified, and we posted it on Facebook, and we're like, so we were in the gay version of Get Out tonight, guys.
Listen, Rural America is terrifying.
It is, especially for queer people.
Like, I'm not talking about, like, hillbilly horror, but I can't really think of a movie that captures that vibe of being, like, a normal person walking around, cowboys who believe concealed carry is a gift from God.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Or just walking around on a Friday night on a college town bar strip and everyone's just screaming racial slurs and catcalling.
I lived behind those bars for 2 years.
Oh my God. That's the true horror.
It was like, first night, young undergrad Wyeth moves in. He's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. First night alone, none of my friends have moved into the apartment with me. All the drunk people start screaming and hollering, and I felt like Will Smith in I Am Legend.
Don't go outside.
Where's my dog?
That's funny. Yeah, there's a hole that needs to be filled in horror, and I'm just the dick to do it. What? I'm sorry.
For those of you, since this is an audio medium, I just made a true Jim Halpert face.
He didn't know what to say to that. So do you have a personal pick this week? We didn't really talk about that before.
We didn't. Yes. So.
Yes.
My special boy, Godzilla.
Oh my God. Okay.
And just long live the king.
Mm-hmm.
Shin Godzilla, which is the scariest. Tripping over my own words. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Yeah.
It is the scariest Godzilla movie since the 1954 one. Okay. Because the original one was like all about the horrors of atomic power. Yeah. And this one captures that again. Cool. And and I got to see it in theaters a couple times, and it looks so good on the biggest screen you can find. And I just really recommend it because it's both a commentary about like nuclear power. There's there's a big presence of like fear of the bomb. Yeah. And it's also kind of like a darkly funny political movie, which a lot of people weren't expecting, but I really liked. So I really recommend Shin Godzilla if you like your giant monsters with spectacle and some political commentary.
Very cool. And yeah, this is the straight from Japan one, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. There is a very... America is not favorable in this movie because America...
Or in general, like in reality.
Yeah. So. We're really goofing the geopolitical landscape right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, America comes into the scene on this movie and their first reaction is, have you considered nuclear weapons?
I mean, that could be a self-fulfilling prophecy, that movie.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, very cool.
What about you?
I'm going to recommend books this week.
Ooh.
I haven't finished a goddamn book in maybe 6 years.
You've been clipping along recently.
I've been reading, yeah. I borrowed a book collection from Wyeth's girlfriend, Al, who she recently expressed some disdain about being referred to as Wyeth's girlfriend on this podcast. So, master's, person who has a master's degree.
Future Dr. Anna Louise.
Current doctorate candidate, Anna Louise. She's amazing. She's in film with us. She'll probably be a guest at some point. But yeah, she let me borrow her Shirley Jackson collection, which I liked the lottery in high school and college. So I'm like, hell yeah. So I read We Have Always Lived in the Castle and The Haunting, which are two... The Haunting's horror. We Have Always Lived in the Castle is more like Gothic, like...
Not spooky. To be confused with I'm the Pretty Thing That's Always Lived in This House.
Oh my god, which ripped it off so hard. But yeah, We Have Always Lived in the Castle is great. It's about, like, two sisters who live with their elderly uncle, and one of the sisters poisoned the whole family a few years ago. And the elderly uncle... was poisoned too, but it just put him in a wheelchair and like kind of messed up his mind. But a distant cousin comes to kind of get in on their money. So it's about the town that hates them and they're very isolated. But it's like these two sisters just trying to live in this extremely isolated, spooky, like secluded castle, which was great. in The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Hill House is full title. The Haunting is more of a ghost story, straight up haunted house ghost story.
Is that that classic movie?
Yeah, 1963. The Haunting was based on The Haunting of Hill House. Speaking of LGBT horror, lesbianism is very, very.
I need everyone to know she made a John Ralphio face. Lesbianism.
Lesbianism is present in a very shadowy way.
Open-minded as hell.
It was scary, though. I loved The Haunting of Hill House. It was scary. It was one of those books where it's from the point of view of someone who's going crazy, and you can't tell they're going crazy, really, because you're in their head.
Untrustworthy narrators stress me out.
So, those were both fantastic. I loved both of them. Side note, I do that all the time on this podcast, I realize. Side note, and then I go off on a fucking tangent.
It's okay, get those footnotes in.
We Have Always Lived in the Castle is being adapted into a film starring Thaisa Farmiga. What's the girl with super blue eyes? She was on True Detective.
Oh.
Alexander Daddario. Pulled that one out of my ass, but it's real.
That was impressive.
They're the sisters, and then Sebastian Stan is the scheming cousin, and Crispin Glover's the uncle. So I am very excited about that.
It's quite a lineup.
And then Haunting of Hill House, the original, had Dr. Jacoby from Twin Peaks, and he was the young, dashing, ne'er-do-well guy, but Mike Flanagan is adapting The Haunting of Hill House for a Netflix series. So it's going to be great.
That's going to be great. Yeah.
I know. I would trust Mike Flanagan with my life. So
we gave him a shout out last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, he's also. This is apropos of nothing, but I'm excited. He's adapting Gerald's Game, which is a nigh impossible to adapt Stephen King story.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what it's about?
No.
It's a couple who are at their cabin and they're doing some S&M stuff. And so the woman's tied to the bed and her husband dies. And no one knows they're there. And
I've thought about this scenario before.
Really?
Just in terms of how would you get out of that?
She doesn't. So it's completely all in her mind. And she starts hallucinating. And there's a killer on the loose, so she doesn't know if he's a hallucination or if there's a person who's in the house. And there's a dog that she's not sure if it's real or not, or if it's protecting her, if it's going to kill her.
That sounds exhausting.
I know, but it's all in this woman's mind. So I have no idea how Mike Flanagan's going to do this, but I'm very excited.
Well, recent Stephen King adaptations have been real anyone's game.
Yeah.
This week, this week in time, my favorite book series, The Dark Tower, had its first movie come out, and it looks not great, Bob.
I mean, it's not the Emoji Movie. It's got...
But dear God, what is? Besides
it hasn't
the
gotten
Trump
favorable reviews. Let's just say that. My mom loves Idris Elba and Stephen King, though, so we're definitely going to go see it.
I love both those things, and Matthew McConaughey.
He's okay. No, but yeah, we'll get you our thoughts on the Dark Tower series soon.
Since we both are apparently seeing it.
We're definitely gonna see it. I mean, I'm still biding my time for It. I'm very glad that we get the Dark Tower and It back to back.
Yeah.
In 2 consecutive months.
I really feel like It overshadowed the Dark Tower.
I agree, which is kind of crazy.
It was really sad to see the Dark Tower marketing prominently featuring It rather than its own movie.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like It was probably much less expensive. A much safer bet. Yeah. And Dark Tower is probably a risk, but I think it was probably just marketing, because its marketing is crazy.
Yeah, they started marketing. For Dark Tower, they started marketing it last Saturday.
Okay.
That's what it felt like.
I mean, yeah, I think we'll see. I think it'll still probably make money, but it won't get good reviews. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's how it is with Stephen King movies. They're very hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, my picks are Shirley Jackson. I'm 60 years late because she was publishing in like the 1950s.
Better late than never.
I mean, if you want some clean writing with extreme suspense and like the spookiest concepts and the best descriptions, yeah, it's nothing better. It's a classic. And Shin Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla, for those of you who love the King of the Monsters.
Yeah. So, I think that's it for us this week.
That's it for this week, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we will talk to you soon, and maybe next week we'll do something better.
Miss you already.
Okay. Goodbye, guys.
Keely behaved like a man demented, obsessed, utterly lost.